everybody. Welcome to our latest episode of Talking Doctor Who. Can you believe it, Jonathan? We're back.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done one of these. Like a full year.
Yeah, crazy, huh? Yeah, we are here to talk about Spyfall Part 1 and Part 2, the latest two episodes of this season of Doctor Who. And are you excited to be back, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. I enjoyed last season, but I feel like it hasn't really stuck with me the way some of the others have. And maybe that's just because I've rewatched a lot of the older ones a lot more than I have the newest one. But I do like Jodie Whittaker, so I'm excited for more with her.
Yeah. And just to kind of give some recap to people who are new to this series, I guess, in the podcast, I am the newer Doctor Who fan. I've now watched 3 seasons, and which seems like a lot for me, at least as a non-TV person. But there's obviously many, many more when it comes to Doctor Who. And Jonathan is our expert of Doctor Who, who's watched all the seasons and knows much more than I do. So kind of get both perspectives here going. So yeah, I'm excited for it to be back. I had a good experience with season 11. Series 11. I don't have a ton to compare it to, so I'm different than most. But yeah, it wasn't one that I don't know if I like season 10 better. But I think I probably like season 11 better than season 10. But yeah, it's true that there was definitely room for improvement over season 11. So I was really excited to go into this new for Spyfall. And so let's talk about Spyfall Part 1. And what was your overall thoughts about this episode?
I really liked it. The alien creatures, whatever, were whatever. I've seen better designs, but I really liked the overall story and the reveal at the end, even though I had the reveal spoiled for me by social media.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. So it starts out in this kind of spy element it's Spyfall, but still, this, you have MI6 and you have this Agent C, played by Stephen Fry, who is trying to bring the Doctor in, and and was that fun for you to see Stephen Fry in Doctor Who?
Yeah, but he didn't stick around very long.
I know.
I was really surprised that they killed him off almost immediately.
Yeah. I think people have been waiting for him to be on Doctor Who, is the impression that I got from fans. Yeah, but he did go out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But so basically you have this alien that is altering the DNA of people. And there's this CEO, Daniel Barton, who they are told by this, by this C agent before he's killed that they're going to go investigate this guy, Daniel Barton. And he's like a head of basically Google type organization.
Mm-hmm.
And then through looking for Daniel Barton, they meet Agent O. And he's supposedly the agent that's in charge of, he's like the X-Files guy, supposedly, monitoring.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, monitoring the aliens. And excuse me. And so yeah, then C is killed, and then the Doctor and the companions end up escaping. And I guess, maybe we should have asked this first, but what are you most hopeful for as far as the Doctor and the companions this season? What would make you really happy as far as development from them?
Well, my favorite thing in older seasons with the companions was when we got more of the companions' families.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, every once in a while, they'd go back home, like with Rose, and we'd get to know her mom. And we got to know Mickey. And eventually, Mickey even joined them on the TARDIS for a while. I know you haven't got there yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I like it when that kind of stuff happens. Like, the family becomes more involved. The backstory is fleshed out more. We really don't know a whole lot about Yaz. We know a little bit more about Ryan and Graham because we
Mm-hmm.
had the thing with Ryan's grandmother, Graham's wife, at the first of the last season. So we know a little bit more about them, but we know almost nothing about Yaz. We know that she's kind of in training to become a police officer, and I think she has a sister. We learned a little bit about her grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
which was interesting
Right.
last season.
That was a good
But
episode.
other than that, we don't know a whole lot, and her family isn't really in the loop. And I just really like it when the family is more involved.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I think they could do a better job of fleshing out the companions. Maybe that's a hard thing about having so many companions is that it's harder to give them the time that they all need when you have as opposed to just having one.
I don't think it needs to be harder. I think if they even just at a couple episodes each
Mm-hmm.
focus on them just a little bit more than usual,
Yeah,
I think that would be enough for me.
because if you only had one companion, though, then you could spend all the time just on that one person.
Yeah, I guess, but even with when we only had one companion, the show didn't need to be all about them. Just once in a while, just go back home, visit the family, and
Mm-hmm.
then go off on another adventure.
One thing, and this is more in the next episode, but it seems like the families are aware of the fact that they've been gone,
Yeah,
which I feel like can't they just return back to the original point
that's what I
of
was
departure?
thinking. Like in previous seasons, they would leave and then come back like 2 minutes later, so nobody even knew they were
Yeah,
gone. And the only time that it was made a big deal of them being gone was which in the one that you have seen when they returned accidentally a year later, and
right,
then everybody thought that Rose had been kidnapped or murdered. But
right.
they don't usually purposely leave gaps for people to wonder where they've been. It seems like a bad idea. I don't know why
Yeah,
they're doing that.
that was weird. That was weird. So they end up finding Agent O is in the Australian outback, and then they Graham and the doctor find O in the outback, and then the aliens capture Yaz, and the she gets put in this like she gets absorbed and she gets sent to this. There's this weird otherworld place that it looks kind of like the what's it called in Stranger Things? I can't think of the name, but it looks
The Upside Down?
upside down kind of, yeah, with the things hanging
Oh,
and
I
it's all
didn't
kind of
even think of
misty
that.
and dark and
I thought it just looked like alien plants or tubes or something. I didn't know what was going on at first.
yeah, she gets sent there. But then there's also this cage that she's in, like a little plastic booth
I
sort of
think
thing.
that's the thing in Australia.
So she's captured, but then her I don't know what that is that's in the other world, but it's a little confusing.
I think it's just like a totally different dimension.
Yeah. It's like your
Like
psyche or something.
I'm not really sure. I just think it's some I don't think it's even another planet. It wasn't completely explained, but from what I could gather from the next episode, the aliens are from a completely different universe. So I'm just assuming that this
Yeah.
room full of tubes is their universe. I don't know.
Yeah, and the alien like takes possession of Yaz of the human and and then she's at the in this cage to all of us.
Yeah, they
But
like swap places, it
yeah,
seemed like. Because the alien was trapped in the cage first, and then something happened and they swapped places.
yeah, yeah. There wasn't the payoff was a little weird with that, but she ends up with Ryan, Yaz, Graham, and then the doctor, and then the four of them with O go to this party at Barton's birthday party, and that was kind of fun. I felt like seeing them all in Texas and going to the party, and there's all these different gambling games,
Mm-hmm.
and that was sort of funny. I thought seeing the doctor trying to play blackjack and stuff,
It
and,
was
and
about
she's
as
like,
good as I would have played because I wouldn't have known what was going on either.
yeah, she's like, is that how you play? It was funny to me. I thought that was cute. Yeah, and so then the doctor confronts Barton, and he denies all the accusations that they say. Then there's this car chase where he's on a car, he's in a car there, everybody else is on motorbikes, and they end up at the airport with his private jet. And you get this scene where the doctor uses the sonic to bring down the cargo area of the plane, and they're able to jump onto the plane. And when they get up there, then we get the big reveal that O is the master.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you feel about this? Because I was reading online, and a lot of people were irritated about it because they felt like with Missy, her arc, that there was some like redemption for the master. That what is that? Is that retconning that? What's happening? How do you feel about a new master and how that relates to Missy and everything?
I mean, I liked this master. It'll, well, like with the doctor, it'll take some getting used to having a new person playing the master because I really liked Missy, especially because she had such a much bigger role than other masters have had. Because, like, the other masters, the ones that I've seen, they just pop in every once in a while. You get one-off episode, but like with Missy, there was the whole arc. Like I don't think you've seen that season, but there was a whole arc of trying to figure out who she was because she
Mm-hmm.
kept showing up, and we got to know her a lot better. So it's kind of sad that she's gone. However, because they're time travelers, we don't know if this is the master that comes after Missy anyway, because there was that whole thing at the end of the like 2 seasons ago where Missy was shot by a previous incarnation. So they were hinting that Missy was the final incarnation of the master. Like when she died, there would be no new master, which they've done before. Like the the previous master had died more than once, seemingly very finally, like this is the end. There will never be another master because he didn't regenerate, whatever. So I'm fine with them finding a way to bring the master back. But either way, we don't know. We never saw a regeneration. So this could be a master that comes before masters that we've seen because of the whole time traveling thing. So we don't know if this is the master that comes after Missy. So we don't know if this is retconning any redemption that might have happened because the master is a time traveler just like the doctor.
Mm-hmm. So you're just gonna kind of wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. It's definitely a pretty bombastic version. A lot of people were were comparing online to um, different different previous versions
Hmm.
of the master.
I mean, you could argue that the one, like, I don't want to give this away because there's like a whole spoiler for an episode you haven't seen, because there's like I shouldn't get into that because it'll ruin something for you. But
Nah,
there's
I'm fine.
somebody more famous, like technically more famous, that has played the Master,
Oh,
even though it was only for one episode.
oh,
So I mean, we'll get
interesting.
there eventually when you get caught up.
I know,
But
I need to.
for someone, for a person who came back for more than one episode, I think John Sim would be the most famous.
Yeah. Okay, good. So then there's a bomb on the plane, and they have to. It's got one of those classic old school countdown things
Hmm.
in the bomb, and the aliens capture the doctor. The friends are left on the plane, and so that's kind of how this episode finishes out, on a cliffhanger, I guess.
Hmm.
And so that was the first episode. And so I really enjoyed this first episode. I thought it was a lot of fun. I liked the whole spy element of it. And so, and I liked the bombastic performance of the master. I enjoyed that. So, going into the second episode, I was pretty excited, and I didn't like the second episode as much. I still enjoyed it, but I don't know. I liked the first part better. But the so in this second episode, they have the doctor ends up in the alien dimension. She ends up meeting a woman named Ada Lovelace, and this is a true person.
Hmm. She
That
was,
math,
I believe, one of the first, if not the first, computer programmer. Like,
yeah,
even before computers were a thing, like prototype computers, the things that eventually became computers, she would program.
yeah. She worked with a man named Charles Babbage
Hmm.
on a mechanical general purpose computer called the Analytical Engine. Which is really interesting. And I like to follow on YouTube this this YouTuber named the Council of Geeks, and he does really good content. He has a lot on Doctor Who, and I thought he made a really good point about how, like in his opinion, as opposed to focusing on the big people of history, like he prefers when Doctor Who kind of introduces you to somebody that you might not have otherwise known, like a
Hmm.
sort of a random person that's really cool and interesting, and I thought that was a good point. I think that's true in because it is it's one thing, I guess, your Rosa Parks and your stuff like that, but it's kind of cool to find somebody, learn about somebody that you hadn't heard of before.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
I
cool.
had heard of her, but I'd never heard of the other person that they meet later on in the episode.
Hmm.
So it was an introduction to a new person for
Yeah.
me in that way.
Yeah, I had never heard of her. So I thought that was a good point about the history
Yeah.
episodes. And so they're in 1834, and we find out the name of the aliens, called Kasavan is the name. And so Ada and the doctor then go to 1945. And I think there was a good line where he's like, well, we're we're getting closer. Getting closer to where we need to be.
Yeah.
I like that. And then you have the companions that are in the plane, and you get this message on the screen from the doctor telling them how to land the plane.
Hmm.
And so yeah, we find, I don't know if we uh if we'll find out how she was able to do that, but
Well,
anyway.
she at the end of the episode, they ask her how she did that, and she's like, "Oh, I forgot," and then she ran off, and then it's implied that she went ahead and put everything in
Made
the
the
plane,
recording.
like went
Yeah,
back in time and put everything in the plane
that
when
makes
they
sense.
reminded her
Yeah.
that that they had been saved.
And so Barton has branded them as fugitives, and so uh, they try to notify all of their families about this, and try to call and things, and they it doesn't. they're not able to do that very well. And that's when I thought, why couldn't they have gone back so no time was lost? That was a little confusing. But
Well, at
uh,
that point, they didn't have access to the TARDIS, but
mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if that even is going to stick around. Like in other episodes, are people going to remember that they were wanted fugitives,
Yeah,
or is it just going to be glossed over?
yeah, it's interesting. And so the Doctor and Ada are rescued by a woman named Noor Inayat Khan. And this is also a real person. And she was a British Muslim spy in World War II. And she was an SOE agent and the first female wireless operator to be sent from Britain into occupied France to aid the French resistance during World War II. And she's Britain's first Muslim war heroine. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'd never heard of her before. So that was a new person to introduce to me anyway. That
Yeah.
was interesting.
Yeah. And so the master has, in this dimension, the master has become a Nazi. And
That was really dumb, though. I
it's
just
really
thought that was so dumb. It was like the Nazis are evil, so the master's got to be a Nazi. But like this master is definitely not Nazi material because he is not the color that Nazis like. So they just like, oh, I've got a perception filter. They just think I'm white.
yeah.
Just I just thought that was so dumb. It's just
Now,
like, why did he need to just become a Nazi? He's already evil. It's like just gotta drive that nail in. He's evil, so he's a Nazi. It's like whatever.
yeah, I mean,
Write it better.
they've had perception filters in the past, correct?
I mean, the master's a time traveler. He could get one wherever he wanted. Just bring it with him.
Uh-huh. But that's the thing in Doctor Who is a perception filter.
Yeah, a
But
perception filter basically just changes how you appear to other people. Like you show them what you want them to see or what they want to see or whatever. It's
mhm.
basically a way to give someone to disguise without having to like give them some sort of elaborate makeup job. It's an
Yeah.
easy writing tool for them.
Yeah, I mean, it did seem a little silly him with that Nazi gear on, but I don't know, whatever, I guess.
It it was
Yeah.
I mean it was fine, but it just seemed a little over the top. Just like the doctor's evil, we're in the 1940s, so he's got to be a Nazi.
Right.
Or the master's evil, not the doctor, whatever. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
it
No.
just seemed like I just rolled my eyes. Whatever, it's
Yeah.
fine, but it was kind of dumb. I thought.
Yeah. So the master tells the doctor that he's basically controlling the Kasavians, that he had them kill the spies and did the whole thing to get the doctor's attention, the whole C thing. Um and he says that um he brings up the planet of Gallifrey. Why don't you tell us more about Gallifrey? I'm probably saying it wrong.
Gallifrey is the planet that the Doctor and the Master are from. That's where the Time Lords live.
Mm-hmm.
So, in episodes that you haven't seen yet, like at the beginning of the show, Gallifrey was just gone. There was the Time War. Gallifrey was apparently destroyed, and it just didn't exist. The Doctor was the last Time Lord in existence, or so he thought. The Master was still around too, but he didn't know that. Then a whole bunch of other stuff happened throughout the seasons. Gallifrey was eventually rediscovered. I think it now resides in like a pocket universe, so it's not even in our universe. It's just being held safe in another universe. And I'm not sure the Doctor even knew exactly where it was. I can't remember exactly what happened in the end of which season. Like maybe season 10,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a couple episodes where I think the Doctor went there, but I don't remember exactly what happened. Either way, Gallifrey has been kind of off limits. Like they rediscovered it, only for it to be hidden away as another mystery. The doctor's got to find it, whatever. But now they've got this whole other mystery. Gallifrey has been destroyed. And I'm not sure where they're going to go with this. The Master said that he did it because the Time Lords have been lying about who they were. I have no idea where that's going to go. I'm hoping that it's going to be a good payoff and not just something kind of dumb. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then the Doctor, Ada, and Nor end up taking the Master's TARDIS to return
Yes.
to the present, which is interesting.
Yeah. So the Master then had to, as the Doctor put it in a different episode, go the long way around. He had to live through like 100 years of history in order to get back to the present, to get back to them.
Mm-hmm. And she gets rid of his filter, so the Nazis will turn on him.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be long there, but then they are able to. The other group is able to land the plane, and then Barton has said that that they are all persons of interest. They're trying to warn their family, like I said. They steal one of Barton's cars, and they end up in this warehouse, and Barton is there, and he talks about the Kasavians are going to rewrite humanity's DNA to utilize its storage capacity as hard drives. And so, yes, then we find out that the Master is forced to live through the 20th century without his TARDIS, and he arrives there, and you've got these little figurines that are like people. It's like a hard drive, like they say. And so he comes, and he wants the figurine to deactivate, and it fails because the Doctor has put a virus in it, and it exposes to the Kasavians the Master, and that he's bad. And the Kasavians end up leaving, and with the Master, and Barton escapes. So that's quite a bit kind of going on. Did you think this was fun? This was back and forth, and
Yeah, it was slightly convoluted, but I mean, Doctor Who can be slightly convoluted sometimes, which I don't mind.
mm-hmm.
Overall, it was a fun episode. It's probably not one that I'll revisit too much, but I did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the time travel stuff. I liked meeting the different people in the past, and that I like that. I always like it when new people get to travel with the Doctor even for a little bit. So I like that she actually brought them with her for a little while, even though she had to bring them back and wipe their memories, which I never like that, but I guess it makes sense since they're historical figures. But overall, it was fun,
Mm-hmm.
and some interesting things for the future about Gallifrey. Hopefully that'll be an
Yes,
interesting thread
because
to follow.
yes, after returning Ada and Nor, then the Doctor goes and visits Gallifrey, and confirms that the Master is right. And so there is a mention of the Timeless Child.
Hmm.
What can you tell us about that?
Nothing. I have no idea. Apparently, this was something that was mentioned last season very briefly, and not significantly enough that I made even a mental note of it. I don't remember it. I'd have to watch that episode again. So
Oh,
I have no
interesting.
idea what the Timeless Child even is. I'm assuming that this is going to be the mystery that they're going to follow this season. Because Doctor Who used to have like a season long mystery every season. They kind of got away from that a little bit. Last season, they didn't really have anything. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. They're trying to get back into not full serialization, but like an overarching thread that sort of ties the episodes together that they'll be following.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, that was the episode that was like the Amazing Race, kind of
Yeah, apparently
last
it was
year.
mentioned there, but I
Huh.
don't remember that.
Interesting. Okay. And then you have the scene at the very end where the companions all say, "Hey, we've been working with you. We don't know who you are." And so she starts to tell them her backstory of that she can regenerate and everything. And so, that's kind of interesting.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was basically the episode. And I liked the first part better than the second part. Although I did enjoy getting to meet Ada and Nora. I thought that was fun.
Hmm.
And
I think I like them pretty much equally.
mm-hmm. and I'm curious to see. I hope we just have fun with this mastery. I think it's a little bit over the top, which is what I like.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think it's a good start. So hopefully it will continue on, and we'll have a good season.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah. So, well, let us know if you're listening what you thought of the episode. Did you like it? Not like it? Do you think it's promising? Or how did you feel about last season? All that stuff. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it. And yeah, we're not sure exactly what our coverage will be as far as if we'll do it every 2 weeks or what. But we'll let you know. Let us know what your interest is if you're listening. And so yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And Jonathan, where can people find you?
You can find me pretty much anywhere on social media at John J North, and you can find me on YouTube. Uh, it doesn't have a dedicated channel handle, but it's I Heart Movies,
Great.
and I have a podcast, same title, I Heart Movies.
Great. I'll have all that information in the description section. People check that out. And you can find me, Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave us your ratings and reviews. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We sure appreciate that as well. And thanks again. This was really fun to talk about. And we will talk again soon. Bye.
Bye.